As the attacks on minorities continue in crisis-hit Bangladesh, the country's interim leader Mohammad Yunus called for a meeting with Hindu students and youth to address the attacks on religious minorities. This, remember, comes after Bangladesh has witnessed multiple attacks on Hindu minorities post Sheikh Hasina's dramatic ouster on the 5th of August. Reportedly, the Hindu students shared an 8-point demand charter with Yunus. Among their demands are establishment of special tribunals to expedite trials for those who have persecuted the minorities, compensation for the victims, 5-day Durga Puja holiday, and setting up of a minority affairs ministry. Before I get in my guests on the show, take a look at this report. They are being beaten, assaulted, and set fire upon. Their houses damaged, their temples desecrated, their businesses attacked, and a constant fear lurks over their heads, the fear of losing their life. Minorities in Bangladesh are under attack since the fall of the Sheikh Hasina government. Mohammad Yunus, the leader of Bangladesh's interim government, unequivocally condemned the ongoing attacks targeting the crisis-hit nation's minority communities, particularly Hindus, as heinous. Are minorities not the people of this country? You have been able to save this country. Can't you save some families? You must say, no one can harm them. They are my brothers. We fought together and we will stay together. Even as Yunus assured their safety, Hindus across the world have united to protest against the chilling attacks. US, UK, Canada, a global outcry is now demanding justice and protection. The last conducted census in 2022 details the numbers in the Muslim-dominated country. Before the country's independence in 1951, while Muslims were at 76%, the Hindus stood at 22%. After the Liberation War in 1971, the Hindu numbers fell to 15%, while Muslims increased to 82%. In 2001, Muslims were at 90%, while Hindus were a mere 9.2%. In 2023, as per records, the Muslims rose to 92%, while the Hindu population in Bangladesh dropped to 7.5%. Even as the interim government assures protection, attacks on minorities continue, and several hundreds try to cross over to India illegally every day in a desperate attempt to save their lives. The attacks are only going to snatch away the stability and economic prosperity that Bangladesh seeks after throwing out Sheikh Hasina. But for that, will the army and the Yunus government act against their country's radicals? All right, let me get in my guests on the show. I'm joined by Sumohan Mukunda Das Brahmachari, Director at the ISKCON Temple in Meherpur in Bangladesh. I'm joined by Mir Mustafizur Rahman, Special Correspondent, Financial Express, Dhaka. And I'm also joined by SK Sood, former ADG of the BSF. Good evening and namaskar to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us on Mirror Now. Sumohan Mukunda Das Brahmachari ji, I would like to start with you. हमने पिछले कुछ दिनों में देखा कि हिंदू टेम्पल्स वैंडलाइज किए गए, हिंदूज पे अटैक हुआ वहाँ पे जब शेख हसीना की सरकार वहाँ पर गिराई गई. अभी क्या स्थिति है, क्या स्टेटस है, क्या अभी भी वो अटैक्स कंटिन्यू हो रहे हैं?
अभी तो स्टेटस है कि अभी बांग्लादेश में हिंदुओं के ऊपर जागृत हुआ, सारे जो हिंदू इकट्ठा हुआ तो उन लोग प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं. जो अभी जो हमारा नए सरकार है वो भी हमारा जो प्रोटेस्ट करने से वो लोग भी हमारा जो ऊपर जो उन लोग वादा दिया जो हमारा ऊपर जो अभी जो अत्याचार हुआ उनके बारे में उन लोग विचार करेंगे और उनका जो लोग ये लोग इस काम में जो लोग थे उनको भी वो लोग आयन का अवतार लेके आएगा। लेकिन फिर भी बांग्लादेश में जो जो सारे हिंदू है, जो आसपास का जो जो गांव पे रहता है, वो अभी डर के मारे है, क्योंकि उधर अभी तक भी हमला हो रहा है और मंदिर भी तोड़ा जा रहा है। जो हिंदू महिला को वही इधर का धर्षण कर रहा है। अभी भी बहुत हालत इतना अभी भी ठीक नहीं है। लेकिन अभी नया जो गवर्नमेंट है वो पॉजिटिव है संख्या लोगों के ऊपर। वो लोग कमिटमेंट किया, अब कुछ करेंगे। हम देखते हैं क्या करते हैं वो लोग। लेकिन ऐसा होता है क्योंकि हमारा बांग्लादेश का जो ना माइनॉरिटी हिंदू को दिन दिन इसलिए कम घट रहे हैं, क्योंकि हमारा जो बांग्लादेशी हिंदू के लिए बोलने के लिए कोई
जी
कोई राष्ट्र नहीं है। आप जैसे देखिए जो इसराइल और भी राष्ट्र है, कैसे वो बहुत सारे राष्ट्र है। यहूदी क्रिश्चियन को कुछ हो जाता तो जो बुद्धिस्ट को कोई कुछ हो जाता तो चीन, इसराइल, अमेरिका खड़ा हो जाते हैं उनके बारे में बात करने के लिए। लेकिन
जी
लेकिन तो बांग्लादेश के लिए ऐसा कोई राष्ट्र नहीं है जो प्रोटेक्ट करता है। इसलिए
ठीक है।
इसलिए हमारा ऐसा।
ठीक है सुमोहन जी, मैं आपके पास आती हूँ। आपने बहुत स्पष्ट तरीके से हमें एक स्थिति समझाई है, क्या सिचुएशन है। व्यूअर्स, this is the director of the ISKCON Temple in Meherpur who's telling us that the attacks still continue, even though they have got some assurance from the Muhammad Yunus-led interim government in Bangladesh that things will get resolved. Let me try and understand from my guests on the show, SK Sood, who's been the former ADG of the BSF. Mr. Sood, can you help us understand why this is happening? This has happened in the past several years as well, where Hindu temples have been vandalized in Bangladesh and the security situation has flared up with regards to the minority protection. But is this just, and does this just have to do with the fact that Sheikh Hasina has now fled the country, and anybody who's seen as a quote-unquote supporter of the Sheikh Hasina government, that person is being attacked?
Firstly, any kind of violence is condemnable, whether it be Muslims or Hindus or whosoever. In my opinion, perhaps
Yes.
it is the supporters of Awami League, be they Hindus, be they Muslims, who are being targeted. And Hindus, being a minority, were mostly supporting the Awami League in that country, and that is what my understanding is, and that is why they are being attacked more and more. So, in my opinion, and then the other thing is that the underlying current of anti-India feeling is making the mob uh, attack Hindus a little more, because they feel that their roots are in India. They associate them with the Hindu religion roots in India. That is why they are being targeted a little more. That is what my understanding of the situation is. However, as has been promised by the foreign minister, their foreign minister designates made a statement today that they'll be protecting Hindus. So we must believe that, and also while swearing in, Dr. Muhammad Yunus also said that the violence must stop against any person, whether
Yes.
they are Hindus or Muslim. So we must give them a chance. Probably the problem also is that police has not yet come on the ground. It is only the army which is controlling the situation. That is why slowly, steadily, the things will improve. However, minorities being persecuted, minorities, violence against minorities is a bad thing that should not have happened in that country.
All right, let me get in Mir Mustafizur Rahman to this conversation. Mir Mustafizur Rahman, Do you resonate with that? The fact that, वहाँ पर जितनी भी attacks हो रहे हैं अभी minorities के against, वो इसलिए हो रहे हैं क्योंकि एक larger anti-India sentiment है और क्योंकि उन्हें देखा जा रहा है कि वो अवामी लीग और शेख हसीना के supporters रहे हैं past में.
Thank you. I partially agree with the BSF uh, director that the attacks which were carried out in the last, on the 48 hours after the resignation of the former prime minister, mainly it was
Yes.
due to political reason, and what the BSF director mentioned that in Bangladesh today the platform of the minority community, Hindu, Buddha, Christian, Oikko Parishad, they submitted a report to the chief advisor, and they said that only they found violence against minorities in 29 districts out of 64 districts. And according to their report, only
Yes.
9 temples were vandalized. Interestingly, they did not mention or include any attack on any temple in Meherpur. So this is a new thing, and I'm not sure whether the guy from the Meherpur he conveyed it to their leaders. I mean the Hindu community leaders. Otherwise, the report I have seen, which was submitted by the Hindu Buddha Christian Parishad, that did not mention the Meherpur temple. That is one issue. Another issue is that rightly pointed out by the BSF director that the absence of police force. Previously, what happened, whatever the incident, I mean, after the regime change, this is for the first time, and it's an unique situation that police was not there. You understand? No police. So, due to the absence of police, the avenue was open for such attack. But definitely, what I can tell you very frankly, our foreign advisor today briefed the diplomats of other countries in Dhaka, and he then talked to us, and he made it very clear that the government is committed to ensure full protection for the minorities. And the chief advisor had a meeting with the minority leaders today, and he also said that each case, every case, will be examined and the perpetrators will be tried. But in many cases, we have seen that Indian media, there are some a bit exaggeration. This is alleged by the local media in Bangladesh also, that Indian media is exaggerating, and this can fuel further escalation. So I request you guys to, cover or make the coverage of such incident very carefully, because there are many fake
But
videos,
I'll tell you,
fake
Mir
incidents.
Mustafizur Rahman, we're just reporting the videos that are emerging out of Bangladesh. At least here at Mirror Now and at Times Network, we are being very, very cautious as to not exaggerate at any point whatever has been happening in Bangladesh. But let me get in Sumohan Mukunda Das. Sumohan जी, ये जो अटैक्स हो रहे हैं, इसमें जो हिंदू स्टूडेंट्स ने अपनी मांगे भी रखी हैं, डिमांड्स रखी हैं, उनमें से एक डिमांड है कि 5 दिन दुर्गा पूजा फेस्टिवल की छुट्टी होनी चाहिए, एक माइनॉरिटी अफेयर्स मिनिस्ट्री बननी चाहिए. उन सब के बारे में कुछ आश्वासन मिला है सरकार से, इंटरिम सरकार से, कि ये जो मांगे हैं ये पूरी की जाएंगी?
देखिए, ये मांगना हमारा आज नहीं है. बहुत सालों से हम सरकार से जितने भी सरकार थे सबके पास हमारा हिंदू माइनॉरिटी का जो संख्यालघु संप्रदाय के लिए एक कमीशन गठन करने के लिए, दूसरा ट्राइब्यूनल गठन करने के लिए, और भी बहुत सारे हम बताया था. लेकिन आज तक ऐसा बहुत सारी सरकार ने कमिटमेंट किया, लेकिन बाद में वो अभी तक भी नहीं हुआ. लेकिन हम आशावादी है जो नया सरकार है, वो लोग जो अभी हमारा जो 8 दफा अभी लगाया, वो कमिटमेंट जो करेंगे, तो हम देखते हैं लेकिन क्या होता है. और भी सारे क्या है ना, हमारा बांग्लादेश में जितने
All right, Sumohan ji, मैं आपके पास आती हूँ एक बार. I want to get in SK Sood on this. SK Sood ji, the fact that yes, the police perhaps needs to do more, but the fact of the matter is that the army has been put in a central role since Sheikh Hasina fled Bangladesh. She was forced to flee Bangladesh. Isn't it now the army's responsibility? Doesn't the onus lie on the army of Bangladesh to quell this situation, to make sure that the violence stops against minorities and the perpetrators are booked?
Absolutely, totally agreed. It is now upon army to stop the violence because police is not there. But perhaps, as in India, the army there also is trained to use maximum force, and maybe they are being cautious in using force out there. However, I'm in total agreement that since army is operating on ground, therefore they should be taking over and ensuring that minorities are protected. The common people, the students who are on the ground managing crowds, managing traffic, managing other things, perhaps are not well equipped to undertake this task. So army must step in to ensure that violence stops. I totally agree with that.
Paucity of time, Mr. Sood, but let me also try and understand from you my last question to you, the fact that what are India's options? How can India deal with this? Because we know that hundreds of Bangladeshis have been nearing India's borders. They've been wanting to enter into India and settle here as the crisis unfolds in Bangladesh. The BSF has been on its toes, trying to quell the crowds, trying to tell them not to enter India illegally.
Yes, in that manner, there's a threat to India, sanctity of the Indian borders. As per my information, there have been 4 instances since the day before of people trying to come to India. They have been, in fact, not trying to force their way. They have been pleading with the border security force to allow them to come to India. But BSF only one was a largish crowd near Gopalpur area in Assam, where about 1,000 people came. Other 3 places were in Kishanganj and Siliguri area, where at one place there were 300, at other place 120 odd, and the third place there were only 40 people who were trying to come. But the fact is that they were not carrying any personal effects, which means that they were probably trying to seek temporary shelter and they would have gone back. And there is no sort of means available with us to find out their religion. So one cannot be sure whether all of them were Hindus who were trying to enter. That besides, but the local BSF authorities have done a very good job by properly coordinating with BGB, that is Bangladesh Border Guards, and ensuring that these people who had assembled near the border to cross over, they were sent back to their respective places. So that remains a problem, that people might try to enter India illegally, and therefore the entire eastern theater of the border security force is on very high alert, and extra troops which were available at the battalion headquarters, there are hardly any, there are no, in fact, reserves with the BSF. So whatever administrative staff was available at headquarters has also been inducted along the border to ensure that no illegal crossing takes place, and all these people are sent back peacefully. All the senior officers are right now on the border, supervising this activity and taking charge of the situation in order to negotiate and coordinate with border guards Bangladesh, so that they also are on alert. The problem is compounded by the fact that over 200 companies of BGB have been sent to interiors for law and order situation. So border on their side is being thinly held. So there's no stopping those people trying to enter India. on the Bangladesh side. It is upon
Right.
the BSF
And
to
just the
prevent them
fact that,
from coming.
this is a more than 4,000-kilometer long border, SK Sood, and it has been a porous border, that clearly increases the challenges for both sides, especially India. But the BSF has been doing a pretty good, calm job when we talk about quelling the crowds and making them understand that this is not the right way to enter any country. But with that, I'll have to wrap it up here. Sumohan Mukunda Das, SK Sood and Mir Mustafizur Rahman, thank you very much to all of you for joining us on Mirror Now and sharing your perspective. Thank you very much.